Learning to work on my car has completely changed the way I see myself and the way I see the world. But nobody really talks about it. You're probably thinking to yourself, hold on, because cars are big, expensive, and complicated pieces of machinery
Use your common sense.
that require hundreds of people to design and lots of knowledge and experience to actually fix and diagnose and maintain, right? Well, yes, but not really. Let me explain. If you're new here, my name is Luca, and I've been learning how to work on my own car for the past 2 years with no previous knowledge or experience or even tools. And that's what led me to discover my passion for cars and ultimately to open up this YouTube channel for people exactly like me in my position 2 years ago. And in this video, I want to share the top 3 reasons why learning how to work on cars has completely changed the way I see myself and the world around me. And no, none of them are about saving money. They all kind of build off of each other, so I recommend staying through the whole thing. Reason number one is self-reliance. Now, I'm sure you're probably expecting this one to be on the list. And like I said at the beginning of the video, it's not just the money aspect of the self-reliance, not having to pay a mechanic, but it's also, in my opinion, I guess the idea around maintaining and fixing your car. Let me explain. Unfortunately, I see it a lot. A lot of people, they really ignore maintenance and repairs, even not for financial reasons, but rather because they just don't understand the implications of that maintenance or that repair on their car. And I've always found that very odd because, especially if you live in North America, you rely on your car more than anybody else on the planet. You rely on it to get you to school or work or to your friends or to your grandma's or to church, wherever. And a lot of people neglect the aspect of maintaining it. At the end of the day, your car is once again a big, complicated piece of machinery that runs on so many different parts, especially modern cars, that when one starts to break, others start to break, and it's just a cycle. And knowing how to work on your own car is kind of a way for you to understand your car and understand the implications of maintenance and not doing maintenance. If you've never opened the hood of your car, you really don't have any idea what anything means when it comes to your car. You don't know when and why there's certain oil change intervals, when and why you need to change your brakes and how your brakes work and what needs to actually get replaced regularly rather than when it breaks, and so on and so forth. But when you start working on your car, even small things like oil changes, brake jobs, fluids, whatever, you build this understanding with your car. And all of a sudden, you understand why changing your oil is important and why you want to replace your ball joints when they start to get loose and what that causes when they're loose and what it sounds like and what it looks like and what that does to your whole suspension and so much more. You start to understand why it's important to get alignments and rotate your tires because you look at your suspension, you kind of understand how it works, and you know that if something is off, that's going to mess up your tires, and you know how because it's going to change the toe or whatever of your tires. If you've done an oil change, you've been under your car, you've seen it, you understand what rust does to your car and why it's important to get it undercoated and to take care of it. So self-reliance, not just in terms of money, doing it yourself to save money, but it's also doing it yourself so you understand the implications of it. Number two, which is I think one of my favorites, is confidence. It's very well known that confidence is built through facing a situation or something that causes you some sort of distress, whether that's sadness, anger, stress, fear, whatever, and pushing through that, pushing yourself to get through that, and then ultimately being successful at it. That's what builds confidence. And in the car world, that's the exact same thing. When you first have to do an oil change and you're looking at your car and you pop the hood and you're looking at all these components and you're like, oh my God, there's so much stuff. I don't know what anything does. And you're terrified to do an oil change and you're like, oh my God, fluid's gonna get everywhere. And what if I bought the wrong one and I don't put enough in it? What's gonna happen? And then you push through that feeling because you're like, okay, I spent all this money on the oil. I did it. I committed to doing it. You do it. And then you turn on your truck or your car and it doesn't blow up. And all of a sudden you're like, you know what? I did it. That's awesome. But I have a whole video talking about my first ever oil change. It genuinely changed my life, and it's the reason I'm here right now because it was the catalyst for everything that I'm talking about right now. It's what pushed me to learn more and more about cars and ultimately discover my passion for cars, right? I have a whole video about that on my page. You can go and check that out if you like. And the third reason is just the lifelong skills that you develop by learning how to work on your car. I think all of these life skills that I'm about to mention, they're very much, they're like a muscle in your brain, just like working out at the gym. In my opinion, you learn certain life skills while working on your car, learning how to work on your car, that are transferable to so many aspects of your life. And I'm a prime example of this. For example, you learn problem solving skills. Anybody who works on cars knows that no project really ever goes completely smooth, super straight. A lot of times, especially if you live like in Canada, like I do, you have rust and you break a bolt, or you realize the bolt is stripped by the previous owner, or whatever. And now all of a sudden you're kind of stuck here and you got to problem solve. You got to figure out how to fix this because you got to get to work tomorrow. Or you buy the wrong part, or they give you the wrong part, or you get in there and all of a sudden you realize that the part you were wanting to replace is only a quarter of what's broken in there.
Oh my god, if it doesn't broke, oh my god.
And so now all of a sudden you're like, oh, I gotta fix everything. And so you're forced to problem solve. The more you have to put yourself in a position where you have to problem solve, and the more you have to problem solve in general, that part of your brain develops. And so then when you are sitting at your office, or you're sitting at your job and you're once again faced with an obstacle, you're faced with a challenge, a problem, your brain is used to fixing stuff and getting over it and figuring it out. And it's a lot easier. Another big one is patience. Once again, if you've worked on cars, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's not even just calming yourself down from being angry. When you work on cars, there are certain jobs that are more brute than others. And by brute, I mean they require a lot of hammering, and they require a lot of pushing, and they require a lot of bending and pulling and mechanical force and all that kind of stuff. And then there's others that are more delicate almost. They're ones that require your attention, and they require attention to detail. And you're working with smaller bolts. And so you can't just like tighten them like crazy because you're going to snap them. Or, you got to make sure that what you're putting in is aligned and proper. And you got to kind of be, and that teaches you patience. Earlier on in my career as a DIY mechanic, there was a lot of instances where that job required patience that I didn't have, I had not yet developed. And I went into it, with the same idea that I had when doing my brakes, and it's not the same thing. And all of a sudden, you start breaking stuff, and the job becomes longer. And when you should have just taken off this bolt, and you could have taken an extra minute to just do this properly, you went in there, you lost your patience, and you did it with pliers, and now you bent it, and now you need a new part, whatever that may be. So patience. It's an important life skill. It's a great one to have, and working on cars definitely teaches you patience. Another one is staying calm under pressure and kind of thinking outside of the box while you're pressured. Um, a lot of times, again, people who work on their cars, not just like project cars, which that's a completely different video, but your daily car, which is the car that you use every single day to go to work or school, sometimes you're going to have repairs that need to get done the night of, and it's cold outside and you've got 2 hours, and because tomorrow you've got that big meeting at work and you got to be there, or you've got that test at school and you've got to be there. And so you've got this pressure, and you're like, oh my god, I got to replace this alternator, I got to get quick, I got to get this done, I got to get it, and I got to make sure it works because I don't want to be stranded tomorrow morning. And that teaches you to really calm down for a second, just hold on, because I start panicking, and then all of a sudden you start making bad decisions, and one thing leads to another, and then patience factor comes in, and your decision making is crap, and your problem solving is crap, and it's an issue. So you learn how to stay calm and and really figure out the situation. And the thinking about outside of the box is because a lot of the times, again, people who work on cars knows what I'm talking about. A lot of repairs, you kind of get to a point of no return. You start taking stuff apart, and you can't really just say, I can't do this, I'm gonna just put everything back together. And it varies car to car, but And sometimes you're going to be halfway through something and you've got your two tools at this, figuratively or literally, but those tools aren't working anymore. You got to figure out what to do. So you got to start thinking outside of the box, and you got to start looking around in your garage, and you got to start figuring out, okay, what's small enough that I can fit here and get it to twist. Oh man, I can't get these pliers in there the way I thought that I could. I don't have any smaller pliers. What else can I use? Oh, let me do this. Okay. Oh, if I tighten this, it'll work. Um, and so many other things like that. Once again, it's a muscle. And when you put yourself in enough situations where you do need to think outside of the box because your two tools, figuratively, literally, do not work, your brain gets used to that, and it gets used to looking for alternative ways to reach the end goal, even if it looks different than what you planned when you first set out for that goal, if that makes any sense. Of course, last but not least, it's even like the mechanical knowledge. A lot of engines are pretty similar, or at least the way they work is similar. Don't get mad at me in the comments. I know they're all different and they're all unique and whatever, but a good example of this is when I knew how an engine worked and how to fix an engine and what causes an engine to run properly, right? Like you need spark, you need air, you need fuel, compression, all that kind of stuff. Then when it came time to work with landscaping companies, for example, and your the lawnmower broke down, well, I know it's completely different, but it's kind of there. You know what I mean? And you can kind of look at this thing and you're like, okay, well, it's not firing. Let me look at, probably doesn't have air or spark or fuel. One of the three is missing, or all three. I don't know. And so then you start thinking, okay, does it have fuel? Yeah, it's getting fuel. Okay, the fuel pump's working. Okay, great. Does it have spark? You look at it. Yeah, it's got spark. Okay, what's good? Oh, the air filter. Oh, the air filter's soaked. Okay. Oh, it's all dirty. Okay, okay, okay. Let me clean it up, and it runs. It really does help. Genuinely, it really does. And these are all skills that I find myself using a lot more in my day-to-day life that's completely separate from cars. Like I said, whether that's at work or at school, or trying to get a job or trying to get into a school, whatever it may be, I do find myself using it quite a bit. Now, if what I said here today has convinced you in any way to maybe trying to learn how to work on your car, or gave you the confidence to buy a car because now you're like, you know what, maybe I'll have the chance to fix it. Maybe I'll have the courage to fix it. Whatever that may be, I recommend you go check out my channel. I've got tons of videos where you can see my progression of me working through the learning process of how to fix a car, and even just seeing what I do with them once they're fixed. It's great. I'm building my YouTube channel. I'm really proud of it, and I'm learning every single video. That is going to be all for this video. I really do hope you enjoyed. Go check me out on my other socials, my YouTube page, and please like and subscribe if you did enjoy the video. Either way, thank you so much. Happy wrenching. Have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.